Are we there? It worked. Hello. Well, that's interesting. Do I have... Sorry, it's me being awkward at the beginning again. I want to make sure there's sound. So, let's look at audio. Yep, it looks like there's sound, so if anybody shows up, let me know if there's sound. Yay! Hi, how are you? It's Monday again. I just walked the dog and I was like, oh gosh, it's Tuesday. Okay, let me start a little earlier. It's every Monday I have a meeting, and I just had that meeting. And then I went outside and walked the dog, and I was walking like not even a quarter of the way around the block, not even to the first corner, and I'm like, okay, so tomorrow's Tuesday. No, I can't even tell my story. I'm like, tomorrow's Wednesday, I'll be at Woven Art, and so, I need to do all these things today that I didn't get to yet, and I was like, wait, no, it's Monday. I don't know. I think I need like a big thing that flips by the door, like sign that flips by my front door, so every time I leave the house, I know what day it is. Well, if I look at the sign, so that's an issue. We'll see. I'm putting on hand cream because I need to put on hand cream. I'm still waiting to see if people can hear me. I see 0 people watching, so there we are. So I'll just keep talking. We had one day of summer. It was like 80 degrees for a day, and now it's 54 and breezy, and breezy would be windy and gray. So there we go. What I want to do today, thank you for joining me, is make sure this still works. There's hands. It's an apple. And then there's me and the hands. And the first thing I want to do is show you my, I forgot what it's called. My rocket tee. Here, I'll hold it up first so you can see how big it is. It's this big. So there's the top. The sleeves are on holders. And then it's that long, which is pretty long. The instructions advise me to go for I think it's 15 inches after the under the arm for the body, and I calculated that to be about 17 stripes, and I have, if we count this as one, even though it's partial, I have one, two, what's going on there? Nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go over here more. 7, 8. There we go. 9, 10. I've totally lost count. 11, 12, 13. I think I'm on the 14th. Let me try it this way. Let's do this. I can put my little face up there too. Hi. So let's try that again. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm on the 14th one. So in a perfect world, something. I think I have to do 17. So 14 is the not fuzzy yarn. So 16 will be the not fuzzy yarn. So I'll either do 16 or I'll do 18. We'll have to try it on again. And see how long it is. So I had put, I had taken the points of the needles off of the cords, sorry, and put these stoppers on that came with the needle set. These are Chow Gu. so that I could go back for the third time and try to do something for the neck. And I think I've either got it or I need one more try. The pattern calls for an attached I-cord or applied I-cord, whatever that's called. Bind off, an I-cord bind off. That's what. Oh, it looks really cool on the camera. And it's not quite so. This is a little more greenish, paler and greenish. It's not quite so. I just interrupted myself. Okay, they wanted an I-cord bind off around and across the back neck, and I did that, and it was too bulky. I think they had asked me to pick up all the stitches, all the rows, stitches, a stitch per stitch across the back and a stitch per row all the way around. And I went for it. And then it was too many stitches. It was really ripply. So I took it back. Oh, and a doubled strand too of the mohair. Let's get the mohair. Where's my mohair? Here's the rest of this little ball. Everything's tied together. Okay, so that's under that. Okay, that's there. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, Diane, I'm live. There's a little tiny like 10-second lag between me talking and you writing or something. It doesn't matter. It's really close. I've almost got it nailed. But yes, and I'm glad you're there. And can you hear me? Make sure you can hear me. Okay, that goes there. So, yep. So this was supposed to be doubled according to the pattern, and I-cord bind off. There we go. Now I'm back on track. So that was too much. So I took out the I-cord bind off. I had only done, I don't know how far, I don't know how far I got, all the way across here and maybe down, I don't know. It didn't look good. I didn't have it quite done. I think maybe I was up here most of the way around. So I picked that out. That was not fun because it's mohair and it was really grabby. And then with that, but I tore it back so that I still had my picked up stitches, because it's not really fun to pick up stitches when you can't really see them. The top and bottom rows of this mohair stripe were teeny tiny at the edge. So I left all those stitches that I'd picked up and I did just some purl around, and then I started binding off, or I bound off. And what was wrong with it that time? This was bulky here at the V. Something else was wrong. And was I still doubled? I don't remember. Anyway, I took that out. That wasn't good either. So then I just decided to do that later, and I went back to working on the body, which I'm obsessed with because I want to wear this thing. And then last night I was supposed to go to sleep. I mean, like real people would have been going to sleep, and I had been working on the body, and I thought I should go to sleep. So of course I took the needle tips off of the other needles and put them on a different cord, and I picked up at a different rate. And I had calculated I needed to pick up 5 stitches for every 6 rows along here. And the way I figured that out, see if I can do math on the fly. We know how good I am at that. The way I had figured that out is the gauge of the stockinette stitch with a single, yay Diane, thanks for letting me know, with a single strand was, I think it's 6 stitches to the inch. And this is on the bias, so what did I do? I think I measured it, not with that ruler. My dog's gonna hack up along. Let me get up. Oh, here, I can do this. Okay. Okay, I guesstimated that it was about 9 inches along the side of the neck, because look, it looks like it's about 9 inches along the side of the neck. It's all stretched out now, but approximately 9 up to where the back bound off stitches are. So I needed to pick up 9 inches worth of stitches, and I multiplied 9 by 6 and I think that's 54. And then I counted how many rows I had, and I think I had 64. So I had to do, I had to pick up 54 stitches in 64 rows, which I just knocked off the 4s and got 5 out of 6. Just pretended it was 50 out of 60. So I picked up, so that's math and swatching, and that's what I figured out. So I picked up last night when I should have gone to sleep, should have turned off the light, closed my eyes. Instead, I took off my glasses so I could see better, and I picked up 5 stitches for every 6 rows, and 5 stitches for every 6 rows, and 1 stitch for every bound off stitch. And I picked up 1 extra stitch right there. And then it's kind of weak there because there's the mohair. So then I purled. I just wanted to purl a few rows, and it curls to the back. See, it's just kind of curling to the back, and it covers the pickup row, the pickup edge, and it lies nice and flat. It's a favorite pickup of mine, a favorite edging of mine. So this is just 2 rows and then of purl, and then I bound off on the 3rd row, and I think it's a perfect width. I really like it. And notice it's lying flat, it's not rippling, it's enough stitches because math. And then here, every time I marked this center stitch right here. This little blue guy. And he wasn't supposed to be picked up in. I mean, technically the stitches go that way because this is a top-down sweater. But anyway, I picked up a stitch there, and so he became my center stitch. So I marked him with a pin, which is still right here. There's my pin. I marked him with a pin, and then every time I got to the stitch, every single round, which is 2, and on the bind off round, when I got to 1 stitch before that, I purled 3 together, which, you know, normally, I don't know, I would have done some centered double decrease, except it's purls and you can't tell. So I just purled 3 together. And I think that made the V lie nice and flat. I think it looks great. Right here it's a little weak, and right here it's a little weak, but guess what? I have the tails from when I, something, at some point, I think when these came together, oh, those are probably I don't know what they are, but there's tails there. So I can beef up this little bit right here, and I think I'm going to ignore that right there because that's just the mohair next to the mohair, which is pretty weak everywhere. And I only picked up a half of a stitch in from the edge, which I usually never do, but that way it looks, I mean, and it needs to be blocked, but you can sort of see as if those were a line of V's going that way. Can you sort of see? And it just made a smoother edge than when I tried to pick up 2 stitches in because or not 2 stitches, sorry, a whole stitch. Because there are, how did we do the increases? Knit front and back? I don't remember as we worked out. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with this. I still need to see how it looks like after it's been blocked, and if it's not perfect, I'll either decide to live with it or I will redo it, but this is really good. Nice and flat, and this V looks really nice. What was I gonna say? I'm questioning, it's a firm bind off, which I didn't do on purpose, but I think it's fine. We'll see when it's been when wet. I think I'm going to spray it. I'm not sure. I keep blanking on the thing I wanted to say next, and then it comes back and I say something else. What was I going to say, you guys? Gosh. Shoot. Oh, there it is. I got it. So in a perfect world, when you pick up for your border, whether it's a round border or a V-neck, this especially noticeable when you have horizontal stripes. The stripes should stay horizontal. They shouldn't go like that. That would mean I didn't have enough stitches picked up. And rippling would mean I have too many stitches picked up. So this looks pretty good. It actually is probably dipping up just a tiny bit, but I'm pretty proud. And that's because I calculated, math again, and picked up at what I believe to be the right rate. The math tells me it is. So I will I'll beef this up a little bit. All I'll do with this tail is bring it to the front and just duplicate stitch across that little bit of stitches, which will just bring them together more, because right now they're a little bit spaced apart. Right here and right here. So duplicate stitching across that will bring those together. You want to do that like at a mitten thumb too, where there's a lot of stress and things when you weave in that tail after you've done the mitten thumb. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. And if you do, that's how you fix that. And then the mohair one, I don't know. I could tighten those guys. Otherwise, I think I'm okay. And then, in the big picture, it'll be fine. So what I want to do, because I just bound that off today, is I want to get the points back on the body. The dog just made a weird... Oh, she's doing it again. Is she snoring or is she... I think she's really like doing that thing that you do in your sleep sometimes. So these are ChowGoo needles. I bought a set sometime last year from the Fiber Lady. Is this still attached? No. So this is what's left of my first ball of mohair. I will probably start it for the next stripe, and then I'm into the next ball. So we'll see how far I get. And I've started the second ball of the knot mohair, which is sort of going horribly wrong at the moment, as far as being a ball of yarn. So these are kind of cool because they're easy to take on and off. And then if these aren't too tight, I can just unwind them, but they are. So I'll get my fancy case, came with the set, and I'll find the, oh, I don't think they're in here. Yep, they are. So they have, needle tighteners, but they're really just T-pins. The Addy Click, no, not Addy Click, the Knit Picks sets have different shaped, like they have special oh yes, I can. Thank you for asking. Fran's asking if I can do the duplicate stitch like today. Yes, I can, because look, I have my camera set up for just such an occasion. Okay, make sure you don't put the the needle back into the one you just took it out of. Thank you for asking. Oops, because I wouldn't have thought of that. I can't pick up the T-pin. There we go. So there's the little hole right here. I'm so happy that I've got this picture-in-picture set up now. Okay, and then you just hold this and just... I'm trying to just tighten, which usually lasts pretty well, for a pretty long time, and then maybe it needs to be tightened again. And it's not... I like that the screwy ones... Now these aren't quite... These screwies, technical term, aren't super long, the screws, but they're long enough that when it starts to loosen, as you push your stitches along, the stitches catch, especially, might I say, if they're little teeny mohair stitches, they start getting stuck in the little opening like that. So you get a heads up that the join is loosening. And since they just use T-pins, I mean, you can use a well, let's look. You can use a thingamabob, Sarah. See if this giant one's too thick. You can use a safety pin. Is this one too thick? Probably. Not if you... Nope, it's not. There you go. So I could use a safety pin. This has been... Pretty sure that this safety pin is the one that I used to have stashed over the door of my one of my son's bedrooms, because like on the top of the door sill, because he would lock the door, and he wasn't supposed to lock the door, and it's the kind I don't know, the push lock thing. So on our end, we needed to put something through the hole to pop it, and so I think that's the safety pin that I used to use to pop open the locked door of my son's bedroom. So, and it's like that safety pin really annoys me because it's open and it like always comes to the top of my pile of safety pins. Whoops. But I can't get rid of it because it's that safety pin. It has history. And I also need to come up with a better solution for these things. There's a teeny tiny little connector in there too that I'm sure I'm gonna lose. No, I don't, because it's not Skacel. It's Chogu. But in my Skacel set, in one of my Addy sets, I have a rubber jar lid holder on her so that I can hold on. I don't really, I mean, I could tighten it more if I could hold on with a rubbery thing. You're right. Fran's asking if it came with the little... Oh. And then I forgot to put the needle away. Hang on. We're going to put everything away because I don't want to end up with crap to put away later. Yep. And then I have these. So, yay. There's a whole story behind me ordering this set. I originally thought I just wanted one size, and then I wanted more sizes, but then the wrong things were sent, but then the right things were sent, and I don't know. All right, so now I'm ready to knit again. But since we're going to duplicate stitch, I'll find my other thing that I really like, which is one of these needle, I don't know what it's called, I forget, needle minder, needle something, that just hangs onto my, makes a cool noise, and then it doesn't let the stitches fall off the needle. Okay, so back to here. I'm just double checking that my, ooh, that one's getting close. My needle holder thingy is in there nicely. Okay, so Fran asked very, very nicely if I could show the duplicate stitch that I'm talking about here. So let's put a fake memo pad behind there, and look at that, getting so professional. And a needle, which in a perfect world is right here. Ta-da! And what I'm going to do, so this is an end I would weave in, that's right here for whatever reason. So when I, let's see, it was work. Oh, when I finished that stripe, because then I was going to work in the round and start somewhere else. So that was the end of that strand. So let's see, I have to get it down here, don't I? So I am going to, and here's where I was carrying it. Which I don't need, because I was carrying the strands for this V part. I was carrying the strands from stripe to stripe, both the mohair and the not mohair, which is merino, cashmere, and nylon, but it's easier to say not mohair. So it looks like I had carried this down, but then I cut it because I didn't use it for the next stripe. So I'm going to just undo where I carried it down so that I don't have to feed it back up to where I really want it to be, which is where it left off. Okay, that is still hooked in there. Okay, woo, that was fun. All right, so you have a rubber tight. Well, maybe I have a rubber tightener then. Please hold. Let's see. Let's see. In here, I think it's just needles. And again, I piecemealed this, so let's go like this again. Whoop. That's just needles. Hey, wait, there's maybe a picture of what I'm not having. Oh, maybe it's, did you get the twist and spin or whatever? I don't know. Because there's different kinds too. Let's see what's in my secret pocket here. Came with the rubber tightener. Perhaps, I don't know. All right, so I have needles, 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 and I have the stitch enders, the needle enders, and the stitch markers, and there's another little connector in there. Needles, a needle gauge, and I do not have a rubber thing. So that's okay. It's okay. I don't need it. It's all right. But yeah, there you go. Okay. So there's kind of a mystery solved, I guess. I don't feel cheated. I'm all right. It's okay. Oh, I do need it down there. Sarah, you idiot. Okay, so I do need this down here, not up here. Wow. What a goofball. All right, well, let's just do that again then. Holy Toledo. Well, you know, last week was awkward week, so this week is off to a great start compared to that. So I am just putting that back in where it was probably approximately, and can't see that there. I am just, can you see that okay? You can. A little white hard plastic case with some stitch markers, T-pins, and rubber thingy in it. Sad for me. Well, you know, I don't have a white plastic thing. And I'm okay without the rubber thing. Wait, did you say you have 2 sets? Maybe you need to send me one of the rubber things. Just kidding. Just kidding. Maybe 2 is too many. All right, so that's good. I can't see the where I just wove those puppies in after I unwove them in. You know, sometimes I'm just not very bright, and it's very I always say humbling, but that's not the right word. Just, you know, it's very human. All right, let's see. Okay, we're trying to get, aren't you glad you asked, Fran? Because I can't even get there. We're trying to get, ooh, if I go over there, I'm just thinking about how to get, don't you like the ability to show you what I'm doing? I'm so proud of myself figuring that out. Okay. What if I go, yeah, I'm gonna just jump down. I'm thinking. I'm gonna jump down. If I go through there and through there, is that gonna be a problem? Let's look. Well, see, it already tugged it over there, so that's interesting. All right. And I'm going to, let's see. All right. So I just sort of did that to get it down. I did that for a couple reasons. I wanted to hide the carry, or I could bring in a new strand, but that seems ridiculous. Does it? No. All right, that's what we're gonna do. Pretend that I didn't, just let's go backwards, beep, 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 for, I don't know, 10 minutes. I am going to do that. It'll be a cleaner duplicate stitch because it'll be coming from the correct direction, and then I won't have this, which I had already decided I didn't need to have. So I'll weave that in later, and I'll maybe do something fun with him. And I have a teeny tiny ball somewhere. Oh, it's in this little secret place of my, this is what's left over from the first ball. I didn't even try to start a you know, stripe with that because it's just teeny tiny. Okay, so let's just start over, shall we? All right, so I just have a strand of yarn, and here's what's going to happen. I'm trying to beef up, I'm trying to pull this together right here where it's pulled apart. And so if there were an end right there, which I could make it be there, but then it was kind of awkward. And I will weave in my tails later, but I'm just going to come over here. See, I don't even have to go that far. And I'm going to get a running start. So duplicate stitch is just copying the knit stitches. I'm going to take that to the back in a little bit and weave it in. So knit stitches make the serpentine shape. And I'm just going to, so this, I'm duplicating the top row of knit stitches. And so the top row goes up and around into the mohair and back down and through this second row, and then back up through the mohair. So I'm following this loop. And then it comes back down and goes into the second row again, and then out the next. So that would complete the first stitch where I went in there. And then this would start the second stitch where I'm coming out there. So there's one. And then I go back up and I'm duplicating this stitch next. Fran, was it you who told me you never learn anything on here? Just curious. And then finish that stitch down here, and then go up the next one to duplicate the next stitch, which goes up here and around the mohair. And then back down and in here, and back up the next one, and then back up around the mohair. Let's see if this is going to help. And back down. Okay, we're going to do the mohair too. That's what's really going to work. Which is leading me to wonder if I needed to do this part at all. You know, I'm working backwards lately. Let's do the thing that maybe doesn't need to be done first. All right, so that's what I'm talking about. And it didn't close up that gap, but I bet this will. Because the gap was actually in the mohair row. Because the mohair is where it's split. So if I bring the mohair up, let's see. Which way do I want it to go? Well, then who told me they didn't learn anything? Somebody told me that. And thank you. So I'm just, I can't even see these stitches. Kind of spiraling over here badly because it's mohair and I don't think it'll show. And then I'm going to come up. Oop, farther over, okay. And so now I am using the tail that was attached, and I just moved it over here somewhere. I feel like I'm too far. All right. This is what happens when we do things live. All right. And I'm using a blunt needle because I don't want to, it's supposed to be duplicating knit stitches and I don't want anything to get split. There you go. I used words. Okay, I'm actually, because I'm just wasting all the time in the world, I'm gonna, maybe it's called duplicate stitch because we duplicate our efforts. I'm taking out the one I did with merino. What a goofball. Okay, because I don't think it's gonna need to be in there after all. So, you know, learn from me, think it through. But also never, you know, I'm experimenting and figuring it out as I go too. Okay. Fran, thanks for asking me to do this. And I didn't mean that snidely. Didn't mean it sarcastically. Okay. So I'm taking out my little strand. Okay, so we're back to where we started a million years ago. And now I'm going to do the duplicate stitch with the, and so here's why I did that. I did that because you're not going to be able to see this, so at least you can see that one. So here's my mohair coming out here, and it's going to go around here and back in. So here's the two legs it's going around. Look at that beautiful picture. And then back into here at the base and out the next one. And then up around into the second row of mohair again, and back in at the base and out the next one. And by one, I mean the next stitch in the row below, which is the not mohair row, the merino row, and then back up and then back down. So I'm just going like right to left, right to left, right to left, following the serpentine that I know is there of the mohair row, that first mohair row, or last mohair row since it was top down. Is this gonna do it? Maybe, maybe not. Ooh, where is it? Oh, and then it goes up in here into my purl 3 together. Okay, so my mission was to bring the larger yarn, the merino, together at the bottom of the V-neck where it was leaning in opposite directions and kind of splitting apart at the bottom of the V. So let's see how I did. So I'm using duplicate stitch to try to fill that in. Hopefully I haven't been covering that all up with my hands while I was doing that. So I just put the tail to the back and let's look. So that row of merino is in a straight line now instead of being split. There's a tiny, there's a little hint of where it was leaning before. And I could take the mohair and go through the second row also. And then that would snap the first row or last row, the bottom row of mohair into shape. But I'm not sure that that's necessary because I think it looks fine. What do you think? So yeah, where the mohair border attaches to the mohair stripes, it's kind of delicate. But, you know, if you're seeing that, you are way too close to my... Oh, here's the back of my pad that my fake memo pad that I made out of old paper with something about tugging the swatch horizontally and vertically. So there you go. Swatch notes become waste paper. Very helpful. Thanks. Yay. Thanks, Fran. Okay. So thank you again for asking. I think that's good enough. I really like the way it looks. So after I, now that I've woven in the end, but if I don't cut it, I can always unweave it too. And so on a mitten thumb, if you've made mittens and you go to finish the thumb and you've made the hand or gloves, and there's always a little stress there, you can duplicate stitch across where that gap is. Just take the tail or take another strand and just duplicate stitch across, so there's still stress underneath it, but you can't see it. It looks all pretty from the outside. Diane says, nice. Could you have used 2 strands to knit that area to avoid duplicate stitch? I could have, Diane. The border actually wanted me to use 2 strands and I didn't like it with 2 strands. What was happening was the stitches at the bottom of the V were being pulled apart because it's the bottom of a V. So it wasn't that it was thin. It was that it was going off from that point into 2 different directions. So if I'd used 2 strands and gone off in 2 different directions, it still would have pulled apart at the base. So good idea. But I didn't do that. But no, that wasn't really going to help the problem. So I'm, now I'm looking at this going, well, but I picked up in the same spot all the way around. Okay, I'm looking too close at that. So I got that back on the needle. So I'll be able to work on that again tonight. I've still got more pull dark to watch. It gets interesting and then it gets a little weird and then it gets interesting again. And that's why I decided to pick up for the neck. I was at the end of that's the real reason, because I was at the end of a, thanks Diane. I was at the end of a Pull Dark episode, and they're 50 some minutes, and I didn't want, it was like, I don't know, late at night, early in the morning, and I didn't want to start another one and just keep knitting round and round. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just pick up those stitches. I turned off the Pull Dark, that's not Netflix, the Prime, and I worked on the, anyway. I don't need to justify why I stayed up late with my knitting, do I? I don't think I do. So that was exciting. So I have 2 more things to talk about. Neither of them are going to take that long. I have 1,000 things to talk about, but I showed you last week, I believe. Oh, no, I don't think I did. I've been showing you 2 attempts at swatching for the Melanie Berg Midnight in Berlin shawl, which is mosaic knitting. It slip stitches, and I was trying my darndest to use stash. And so one of the yarns I'm using, I have 2 skeins of this wool and silk blend from Blackberry Ridge. And look, I mean, I think you can see how pretty that is. It's like a black purpley blue, a black and blue purpley. There's a lot going on. And it's wool and silk, and it's a slubby silk. It's not the smooth, shiny silk. It's the slubby kind. So I have 2 of those, and so I've been swatching. Here's the other one. I'm having problems with my balls today. Sorry. The other yarn, I auditioned some of my crazy millins, and that didn't work. It was too thin. That is how I did the swatch originally. And it looks really nice, actually. But when I started doing the mosaic, turns out the crazy was so much thinner than was enough thinner than the, oh, that doesn't look like it here. This is denser, that's what I'm trying to say. And it wasn't a good match for the slip stitch pattern. So then I tried some of the, what is it called, Alfredo something? From Cornelia Tuttle Hamilton's line of yarns. That's a mohair and silk blend, but it's a DK weight, and this is a sport weight, or maybe hers is a sport weight. But it was, because it's a fuzzy yarn, it came across as too thin also. So I was running out of ideas. So I went to work on Wednesday at the shop at Woven Art, and I just kind of went like this and just stared at all the yarn in the sport weight section and the DK weight section. And the yardages were different, and they were smooth, and different from this, I mean. And some were smooth, and some looked thinner, or they were more tightly plied. And I was like, I don't know. And then I turned around into the next room, and I saw the, that's not it. Oh, that's the Affetto Sita. That's the label. It's called a label from Cornelia's yarn. So where's the label from this yarn? I thought I had it a minute ago. I don't know. Oh, it's right here. So this is the flywheel from Harrisville. It was $12.50 from Harrisville Designs. It's the sport weight, and it's a woolen spun. Let's do this creature here. Boop. Oh, look how pretty that is. Oh, that looks pretty accurate to me right now. I'm telling ya. It's so pretty. So I got this color. And so my thought, isn't that pretty? It has like the little flecks of pink in there. And then this has the little flecks. And I thought those would go very nicely together. And what I figured out was this is a woolen spun. It's a little hardier yarn. And that was a much better match because of the woolen spunness of this, I think. Don't they look pretty? So I brought it home. I bought 4 of them, and as you saw, they were $12.50 a ball, so that was under $50. I was feeling a little bit virtuous. So half stash, and this is old stash, old stash. So I'm feeling really good about using that up, and it's so pretty. And I swatched, and it looked really nice. It works great. It's the right weight. It looked really good. And then I remembered that I just finished the the poncho, the Nasha poncho, which uses a pale gray and a medium blue, which are not these colors. But I was starting to think that all my clothes were going to look exactly the same. Isn't that pretty, Diane? That they were all going to look the same. So yesterday, 2 days ago, recently, it was Sunday. Is that yesterday? Also because, well, that's another story that's coming up next. I went back and exchanged the 3 that I hadn't used for the lighter color, which will give me a more contrast. Boy, it's like blowing out. It'll give me a more contrasty stripe, which is fine. Like I'm trying to just have a different, there we go. It'll be really pretty also. This is really pretty. Whoop, where'd it go? There, that's really pretty. Now I'm having second thoughts, but I'm just going to go for more contrasty. So this part, will be stripier. And I think that the pattern will show up better too. That was another problem was once I start, oh, Sarah. So here was the pattern with the, with the lighter blue, with the darker, with this yarn. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So it worked out really well. I forgot that I actually still had the swatch. So it worked out really well. I did go up a couple needle sizes and now I'm regretting. What do you think? What do you think? I wanted to do one more repeat, which I think is like this much. And then, whoops, one more repeat, which I think is this much. And then soak it and see how the fabric comes out. Because it's, if it's going to fill in, it's going to be too stiff. So I want to see before I decide on the needle size for sure. But it's got this pattern of up and down and then side to side, like bricks kind of. Sort of like bricks. And then the little single dot things. Which doesn't look as easily memorizable as I had thought it would be. But I think that's going to be pretty. I think that's going to be pretty. It'll look less like the thing I already made. So, there you go. Let's put it back in bag. Oops. So that's progress. So I still need to do a little bit more swatching to see if that's the right needle size, which I'll continue to do with this guy, who's now mine. And then I need a bigger bag is what I need. Whoops. And then I'll, anyway, that's making progress. Isn't that pretty? Oops, that's the wrong side, but they're both pretty. Yeah, okay. And then, click, hi. And then, I had taken the class with Deborah Jarko on rigid heddle weaving, and, Fran, she's not helpful. She says she likes both colors. So do I, but I think going for a different look, because the other one's stripey too. The poncho is stripey one of the ways. I think it was a good decision. I don't know. I second guess everything. Deborah Jarko's rigid heddle weaving class. Yesterday was the last day of watching the recording of the class, although it turns out noon yesterday was the last day because I started trying to watch the last one at 1:30, but fortunately I had attended the last one and taken notes because I hadn't, anyway, blah, blah, blah. So it was all fine. And this was the first piece I had, I was going to say loomed, which is called weaving. This is the first piece I had woven and taken off the loom, using, I was going to try not to take a whole hour today, using Gems. I knew there was a G. Gems Merino from Louette as the, here, let's do the thing. As the this yarn, and you can see I already blew it. So yay me. The warp, that's what it's called. And then a marl, which was my crazy Milan yarn from Stonehenge Fiber Mill, as the weft. And I was pretty, that's the wrong side. I'm leaving that in there for now. And you can see that like within the shepherd's wool, it kind of changed in with the, I think there was black and white here, maybe blue. I don't know, but you can see that the weft yarn changed a little bit. Oh, there it definitely changed into more of a gray, and it's thicker too. But can you see how it's kind of doing cool patterning just randomly because of the marl of the one? Anyway, this was off the loom, and I had not yet warped for the second piece. This has now been soaked and hung to dry, but apparently I need to, you can't see it, but apparently I need to iron it, steam it, because it's got bumps in it. That's fine, but look, it's kind of even. It's kind of even. I kind of kept it to the same width the whole way, so that's not horrible. So there's that. And then this weekend, thank you very much, I warped and wove the second piece. Well, look at this. Oh, that's the end. This was the beginning. So it's the same warp, the Gems Merino, and some more of the same ball of Crazy Millens. And weirdly, when you wind, so I had the Crazy Millen wound, you know, in a cake or a whatever you call it, center pull ball. So you can see the progression of the colors, and I'm like, oh, that's going to make a really pretty bag. So I wound it onto the shuttle, and then I realized that when you're winding onto the shuttle and then you're done, that's the beginning of what you're weaving, which was not, which was not how it was playing out from the ball, if that makes any sense at all. It was gonna be backwards. But it started with some like this pink and red thing going on. And then it sort of did that patterning thing that is totally not really patterning. And then the pink or the red turned to a green. So it just shifted to green because that's how that yarn works somewhere in here. Or is that where I cut it? Maybe that might be where I cut it. Ooh, I just clicked something. Are you still there? There. Phew, I clicked on something with my elbow. Yeah, I think that continued through because the pink's still there. And that's how that yarn works, is that one color will keep going, and when the other one runs out, they throw a different one in. And then this is where I had to go get more yarn from the ball, and it's not a continuation of this, but I found a spot where it was at least similar. So this is the other end, and then, or I could be totally wrong. I think this was all the same thing, and then this is where I cut it. Anyway, it's all pretty. So this is the sides and the strap of the bag, and this is the bottom. That's the wrong side. The bottom and the front and back of the bag. It's going to be a tote bag. So I got it done. It's off the loom. I soaked it last night, and then I laid it over a rod to dry. I wasn't sure. I couldn't, like, I was following my notes so carefully for everything, and then I was like down in the laundry room going, I don't know, I'm just going to do this. So you can't tell, but it's it needs to be steamed still, parts of it. So I'll do that. But look, again, it's pretty even. How you can't tell because it's not wide enough. It's pretty even. I did a pretty good job, but it's not straight even necessarily, but it's the same size all the way through, which is, I'm pretty proud of. And my edges are not bad. So I'm pretty proud of that. So then I did dig out my sewing machine, or rather I took everything off the table except my sewing machine, and I did a zigzag stitch, but apparently this I remember doing. Where was the other end? Where did it was on this one. Yeah, something went wrong there. They jumped the zigzags, so that's a bad thing. Was this the one where it is? I ran it through my sewing machine and it ate this was the beginning, and it ate the fabric. So that's probably why it's pulled out, because I had to yank it out of the machine. I was really sad. Thank you, Fran. It's way thinner. I mean, I haven't measured it lately, and it's going to be thin, sewn together, so nothing matters. It's just a tote bag. Not just a tote bag, but I'm just so much happier. I'm so happy that she made us do two different pieces, that we warped two different pieces. And I love woven fabric. It feels really good. So anyway, that may or may not get some progress made. I'd like to at least iron it, because if dig out the iron and the ironing board, which are there. They're just ironing boards covered with all kinds of other things. So if I see, Diane says, let me finish my sentence. If I can get all the crap off the ironing board except the iron and fire that up, then I can press these and I can iron my linen top that I made, which I haven't worn yet because I haven't ironed it yet. Although you might have thought I was wearing it because it looks exactly like this one that I already own. Whoops. I'd forgotten about that. Diane, I tried it in like 2009 or 2010 because that's when I bought my loom. And I had a great teacher, but I was chatting through the whole class and I didn't, it was taught by a friend of mine and I was with a friend of mine and I just chatted through the whole class and didn't pay attention. And my edges were horrible and it was awful. It wasn't awful. I made three scarves. I gave one to each of my sisters, but I didn't feel like I wanted to keep going. The reason I started was because I wanted, I still want some woven hand towels for the bathrooms. And I had tried to get Nancy McCrae, the owner of Woven Art, the first owner of Woven Art, who was the teacher. She's a weaver. I said, can I commission you to make me some? She said, no, but I'll teach you how to make them yourself. And so I was sort of like sad because I just wanted her to make me some. So anyway, now I feel like I can maybe get farther. So with that, wow. Yep. I was thinking maybe I should just keep these down to half an hour, but I can't stop talking. So, making sure I said everything, or not said everything, but read everything. I think I did. So thanks for joining me. If you're watching later, thanks for joining me. And I am going away. I'm not going away. I'm going to end the thing, which is hard. I don't know how because it's two different animals. So I'm going to end it on YouTube. And so you'll probably stop seeing it. And then I'm going to end it on the software I'm using. So I don't know where the end's really going to be. That's what I'm saying. Still figuring it out. I will talk to you next week. Bye.